All right, let's just dive right into this. If you've ever stared at a multiple choice grammar question and thought, well, they honestly all kind of sound right, you are in the exact right place. Welcome to this explainer on hacking the digital SAT grammar section. Today, we're taking a high anxiety, totally unpredictable test and flipping it into a completely predictable game of logic. We're going to deconstruct the whole thing using the ultimate authority on the subject so you can literally see and understand every single bit of the test's hidden mechanics.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with mastering digital SAT grammar, hit the ultimate cheat sheet, break down punctuation and sentence boundaries, cover verbs, tense, and agreement, hack transition questions, and then finish up with some essential study strategies.
Okay, Section 1, Mastering Digital SAT Grammar, Demystifying the Test. Let's get into it.
So our entire playbook for this explainer comes straight from Erica Meltzer's legendary Ultimate Guide to SAT Grammar, which has been specifically updated for the new digital SAT. Now, the core promise of this book, it isn't about memorizing a giant dictionary of rules. It's actually about recognizing patterns. You see, the test makers draw from a very specific, limited pool of concepts, and once you see the matrix, you really can't unsee it.
As Meltzer perfectly puts it, the ultimate goal is to teach you to simplify and to reduce seemingly complicated questions down to their essential terms. So, the absolute most crucial point I need you to take away right now is this. Stop relying on your ear. Your ear is tuned to spoken English, which is full of messy slang, dramatic pauses, and run-ons. But the SAT, it tests strict, formal, written English. We have to strip away all that distracting fluff and just look at the bare bones of the sentence.
Moving on to Section 2, the ultimate cheat sheet, high-yield rules.
I want you to grab a mental screenshot of this right now because these 3 rules alone will artificially inflate your score. Seriously. Rule 6, a period, a semicolon, and a comma followed by and or but. These are all grammatically identical on the SAT. They all do the exact same thing. Separate 2 complete independent sentences. So if you see answer choices offering a period in one and a semicolon in another for the exact same text, cross them both out. They literally can't both be right. Then there's Rule 7. This is our giant red flag. A comma followed by words like it, this, or they is almost always a comma splice, which is just completely wrong. Finally, Rule 9 tells us that a colon and a single dash serve the exact same function. They introduce an explanation or a list, and, this is key, they must always follow a complete standalone sentence.
Building on that, we have to talk about conjunctive adverbs. These are your heavy-hitting transition words. Think however, therefore, moreover. The SAT absolutely loves to test where you put punctuation around these guys. If you're starting a brand new sentence with one, it needs a heavy stop right before it, like a period or semicolon. But if it's just interrupting the middle of a single thought, it just gets hugged by commas on both sides.
Which brings us to Section 3, Punctuation and Sentence Boundaries, Spotting the Structure.
Let's look at the dreaded comma splice in action. The rule here is incredibly simple. 2 complete sentences cannot be separated by a comma alone. Never. Ever. But the test makers will try to trick you by throwing in a pronoun. They'll write something like, the windmill is old, it still works. Boom, that's a comma splice. The windmill is old is a full sentence, it still works is a full sentence. You just cannot glue them together with a flimsy little comma. You have to upgrade to a period, a semicolon, or a comma plus a coordinating conjunction like but.
Okay, here's another great structural trick for you. Non-essential clauses, those little extra bits of gossip in a sentence that you could totally cross out without breaking the grammar. They're set off by punctuation. But here is the absolute golden rule. Whatever punctuation mark opens the door must close the door. If you start that clause with a comma, you end it with a comma. If you start with a dash, you finish with a dash. The SAT will absolutely try to slide in an answer choice that starts with a comma and ends with a dash. Don't fall for it.
All right, Section 4, verbs, tense, and agreement. Who is doing what?
I want to highlight something that feels incredibly counterintuitive here, but Meltzer points it out perfectly. Think about nouns for a second. To make a noun plural, we usually add an S, right? 1 apple, 2 apples. But verbs do the exact opposite. Singular verbs actually end in an S, like it works or she suggests. Plural verbs do not end in an S, like they work or they suggest. So if you're stuck on a verb question, just look at the answer choices. If 3 of them have an S at the end and 1 doesn't, you know for sure you're dealing with an agreement question. Find the subject, figure out if it's one thing or multiple things, and just match it up.
And we know the test makers love to layer their tricks, right? Take a look at this example. It's testing pronouns, apostrophes, and agreement all at the exact same time.
Frank Gehry is an architect whose spelled WHO''S designs are famous. That is incorrect. WHO''S always means who is. You would say an architect who is designs are famous. That makes no sense. You need the possessive pronoun whose, WHOSE. It's a classic trap because it relies entirely on how things sound when spoken out loud, rather than their strict structural function.
Let's keep moving. Section 5, Hacking Transition Questions, a live tape study.
Here is a slightly condensed, real prompt based on the source text. Although T.S. Eliot devoted several years to writing The Wasteland, it sold only about 330 copies, blank. Eliot was forced to seek other sources of income. Now, the first instinct of almost every student is to immediately stare at the answer choices and start plugging them into the blanks to see what sounds nice. Stop! Do not look at the answers yet. Meltzer outlines this foolproof three-step process that you have to use. Step 1, read the full passage, not just the sentence with the blank. Step 2, and this is the real magic step here, determine the exact relationship between the two sentences before you even peek at the options. So, sentence 1, the book sold poorly. Sentence 2, he was forced to seek other income. What's the relationship? It's clearly cause and effect. A happened, so B happened. Okay, only now do we proceed to step 3, actually look at the answer choices.
Now we execute a ruthless process of elimination based on function, not sound. Let's look at them. Alternatively signals a contrast. Does that fit cause and effect? Nope. In fact is used for emphasis. Absolutely not. Moreover means in addition. Again, no. But consequently, that literally means as a result, yes. Because we identified the function beforehand, we didn't waste a single second debating whether moreover sounded sufficiently academic in the sentence. We just hacked the logic.
Let's bring it home with Section 6, Essential Study Strategies, Maximizing Efficiency. So, the new digital SAT gives you more than a minute per question on the reading and writing section. This is a massive shift from the old paper test, which gave you just under 50 seconds. But listen to me. Do not let this new, spacious timeline lull you into a false sense of security.
As Meltzer wisely warns in our source text, it is also important not to confuse having a lot of time to answer each question with needing that time. If you truly understand the grammar mechanics we just went over, if you can spot a comma splice from a mile away or instantly know that a semicolon equals a period, you can answer these grammar questions in literally 10 to 15 seconds. And because the test allows you to skip around, you can bank all those saved minutes for the highly complex, totally time-consuming reading comprehension passages.
Look, the grammar section isn't there to trick you. It's really just there to test your recognition of a very finite, specific set of rules. You now have the cheat sheet, you have the analytical process, and you have the time management strategy to reduce this whole test down to its essential terms. So my final question to you is this: how will you use your newfound efficiency to completely dominate test day? Go apply these rules to your practice, stop trusting your ear, and start trusting the structure. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy studying.